Yun, it's great to be speaking with you again.
Be much better to be seeing you in person, James. But here we are in Melbourne. We're getting to the last stage of lockdown, and life's a bit different, but there's hope.
For sure, for sure. So my first question for you is what's the situation like right now? I mean, there's so much going on. What is the marketing context right now?
What's interesting is that from a COVID point of view and search point of view, a lot of sort of the fears come out of it. There's probably about 90% less search around that subject area than there was at the peak in periods such as March and July. Obviously quite different in Melbourne, Victoria, but generally a lot of the fears have gone away. Probably the things that have really surged the most in the last 3 to 6 months has been e-commerce. With e-commerce has been anything to do with delivery and convenience, and also there is an Australian-made feel as well. So they're probably the three sentiments that have grown in the last 6 months.
Yeah, it's very, very interesting. And so I guess my next question is, what are some of the opportunities out of all this change that's happening? What are some of the opportunities?
Look, I think the opportunities are very different based on the sort of business that you're in and what industry that you operate. I think the first few industries I want to talk about is a concept called pent-up demand, particularly in Victoria. I really see some great trends, particularly in Victoria, around the car industry. Haven't been able to really trade freely there for 60 to 90 days. Seeing some really strong trends in the last week or so, which says to me that there's going to be a really strong sales period from now until Christmas.
Wow.
Also, both anecdotally from clients and also in trend data around home improvement investments. Not investing in traditional holidays, that money being spent on enhancing your most valuable asset. And I also see, real estate as a category taking advantage of that pent-up demand trend. So that's what I'd say from a pent-up demand. I think those industries will go very, very well in the next 2 months. Christmas, probably about a week and a half ahead of the normal schedule. There has been press around Australia Post struggling to keep up with deliveries from the 12th of December. So the traditional window for retailers, I think, is shorter and faster. So I'd be strongly recommending that retailers are taking advantage of a lot of the trends around services like Afterpay and Latitude Pay. A lot of those services are really picking up. So you want to be getting ahead of it so people can make those purchases well before having to worry about Christmas. So what does it mean in terms of actions for businesses and how that? Well, I think for a local business, really using your database, running local initiatives, and really getting behind the momentum of the micro level of Australian-made and locals. I think people want to support local businesses, and you should be very parochial around your targeting. If in your prime suburbs, that should be a key part of your strategy of really emphasising how you're getting involved with the local community and how you're supporting other businesses and maybe parts. So I think the local elements very, very important. I also think that there's some really distinct trends in terms of speed around buying behaviours and deliveries, and I think convenience, speed, delivery, and making sure you're pushing products that are popular and keeping on top of trends is very important for any traditional retailer or for an e-commerce retailer. In terms of speed, you've got to keep your audience, you've got to keep your messaging relevant. More than ever, we're seeing ad fatigue in a very short period of time as to what was popular or what was the sentiment a week ago may not be what's on point a week later, or may not even be relevant to a certain part of Australia. So I think making sure that your website messaging, your social media messaging, your remarketing messaging is incredibly current and up to date and being updated frequently, I think is very, very important in getting a better ROI for your marketing spend.
Gotcha. Great stuff.